Now, where do we go from here? This is a situation that I think our country, many things going on, just a couple of things I'm going to talk about and not take too much time today. But obviously, with what's happened, particularly on Christmas Day, it has brought again to the forefront that we are a nation at war. And no matter how you sugarcoat this situation, it is serious business on what is going on. And we have to realize that we can't quit calling this a war on terror or call it, to downplay what it is. This is a problem that we have in this world and in this country with fundamentalist Islamic terrorists who seek to destroy Western civilization. And you can call it, sugarcoat it however you want, but that's what it is, and we don't need to lose sight of that. And I'm very disappointed that this administration has decided to prosecute the Christmas Day attempted bombing in federal court as opposed to in a military tribunal, and the information that we have now lost as a result of that decision is unacceptable. And so we're going to continue to stay in that. Now, one of the things that's surprising is that we look at energy and we look at what's happened on the energy issue. I think this is something that I'm very thankful that the cap and trade legislation has not made it through the Senate yet, but it's still out there. And I want all of you to pay attention to what's going on this. This is nothing more than a glorified national energy tax, and it is, we're going to say that some company or some group, you're going to have a limit on how much in carbon emissions you can have, therefore the cap. And if you go over that, then you have to obtain carbon credits, therefore the trade. So really, it's kind of like if I decide I'm going to go on a diet, but I'm going to pay somebody else to take it. We've got a little more sense than that in Mississippi. These are things that it's just basically some smoke and mirrors that are going on within this, and it is not good for our country. So we're going to continue to fight against the cap and trade legislation as it is out there. What's the biggest problem we've got in this country? It's spending right now. If we're looking at what's happening on the deficit spending and the fact that we are spending money that we don't have, spending more money than we have. I was disappointed, I'll have to say, when President Bush in his last year, the deficit spending wound up under Democratic-controlled Congress, about $450 billion of deficit spending. Well, this past year, how about in the Obama administration's first year, $1.4 trillion of deficit spending. I mean, y'all, we cannot continue to do this. And the thing that disappoints me is now the administration is saying we've got to do something about deficit spending. We've got to look behind and beyond the 30-second sound bites that we're getting out of Washington right now and know that you can't sit there and say we've got to do something about deficit spending when you're the cause of the situation that we're in the first place. So we're going to have to continue to take a much stronger approach as we deal with those issues. Healthcare. This is an ongoing issue. We are a compassionate people. We want to help people that can't otherwise help themselves in this situation. But what is happening here is taking a situation of what the president said was 30 million people who were uninsured. Well, why wouldn't you deal with addressing those 30 million people? Instead, what are we going to do? A typical situation of the federal government of overreaching what their responsibility is and their approach to solving any perceived problem. If we were just attacking that situation, that would be one thing. But this is an attempt for a complete government takeover of roughly 1/6 of our national economy. This is not the approach to take. It's not the time to take this kind of approach. And with the restrictions and the regulations that will take place, it's just not going to happen. And so when I say look behind the soundbite, what have we been told over and over? If you like your private health insurance, you'll be able to keep it. We've heard it countless times. Well, that's not what CBO says. The Congressional Budget Office says that 9 to 10 million people will lose their private health insurance if this plan is enacted into law. So the truth would be nice. Tell us the truth, whatever that is, and we'll deal with it. But don't sugarcoat it or call it something that it's not. This is a plan that will not be good for our country. We're going to continue to fight against those issues and additional government takeover. I've read the House version of the bill. I fell asleep some while I read the House version of the bill, some 2,000 pages. But if I'm a small business, or if I'm a business that is required under a government option to provide health insurance for the employees and the documentation and to determine what acceptable coverage may be, I'm going to pay the 8% penalty and let the government take care of it because it's less of a headache. It costs less to pay the penalty if you look at everything that's there. So these are things we're going to do. We're excited about the opportunity to run again. We can't do it by ourselves, and we need your help on this. At this time, I am going to ask for a pen, and I'm going to sign my intent to run for Congress for a second and additional term. And I'm going to hand that to Brad White and tell you thank you for your support, and we're going to work really hard to earn another term. God bless you all. Thank you for being here.